Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Mary Elizabeth. I've got a Q&A style video for you this week instead of me just talking about the stickers I'm putting down, so I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you like down in the comments. I'd love to know. So I asked on my planner Instagram, which is at Mary Elizabeth Plans, for some questions, but I also asked on the Scribble Prince Co. fan Facebook page. If anyone wanted to ask me anything for this video too, because I am using the Ohana kit from SPC, as well as Sparkly Hollow from SPC. So, we'll start there. Molly asked, what's your all-time favorite SPC kit? And that would be a tie between the Friday the 13th kit from last year, which featured it was horror movie themed and had kind of like iconic horror movie characters or icons in it. And I loved it. If Andrea will bring that back in the new format, I will definitely pick it up. I may even hoard it, even though I don't hoard kits. So, here's hoping. And then it would be tied with the July mystery kit from this year. All I'll say is it's fall themed, and it seemed to be very polarizing. Like, you either loved it or you hated it. I absolutely loved it and think it's like the most beautiful kit she's ever come out with. So I love it. If you can't tell from my choices, I love fall and horror movies, so I'm like one of those spooky ass bitches. So yeah, those two kits are win the number one spot for me. Alondra asked, what are the must-haves for new SPC buyers? This is kind of a hard question for me to answer because a lot of people plan differently. And I know a lot of us plan like Andrea with the minimal or some white space and bougie boxes, but a lot of others don't. So for me, I'm going to take it as what's the most economical must-have from SPC, and that would be the Wiggles. It's a great bang for your buck. You get so many stickers in one bundle for a great price, and there's such a big variety. You have like your standard for core foils, gold, rose gold, silver, and hollow, but she also comes out with different colors. So that would be my recommendation. But now I'm going to move over to the questions I got on Instagram. Alex.Crisco asked, a vacation to the beach or the mountains? For me, that would be the mountains. I am pale as a ghost, so I don't do long hours in the sun very well, even with sunscreen. I don't know what it is. I think it drains me more than it drains deeper skinned people. Is that a thing? Because when I'm at the beach, after 2 or 3 days, I'm maxed out. I'm ready to go home. But in the mountains, I could be there for like an entire week or two because it is more shaded and cooler. I feel more at home there. So let me know if you also like the mountains better too. Anyway, next question is from Emma Plans. And thank you, Emma, for this question. And it was a tough one. I loved answering it, but it was a struggle. So Emma asked, top 5 favorite horror/thriller movies. I could make a whole separate list for thrillers, so this whole list is just horror movies, which is my main favorite genre. And that goes not only for movies, but TV shows and books. So I'm going to go from my 5 to number 1. So this is actually my second time doing this voiceover, and I felt like I was super rambly the first time around. So let's see if I can do this a little more concisely. So number 5 would be Candyman, and that came out in the early 90s. And if you know like the whole Bloody Mary myth where you stand in the bathroom mirror in the dark and say her name 3 times and then she appears, it's that concept, but with the Candyman. But it's so much more than that because there's this whole history and, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but background story to the Candyman that you get along the way, and it takes place in in Chicago in a apartment development, which that in itself, and it's based in a real community, that in itself has a dark history too. So I'm rambling again, but I think especially in the times we're in now, it's an important movie to watch, and it's just good horror. And they're actually coming out with it's like a remake / sequel, I think. I'm not exactly sure. At some point this year, it keeps getting pushed back because of COVID, but I'm super excited to see that. But yeah, so that's number 5. Number 4 is It Follows. And I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, so it's definitely not mainstream. I feel like a lot of the things on my list are a little more mainstream. But don't get me wrong, I love a good indie horror movie, done on a cheap budget. Like, I've got some I could recommend if you want me to. Like, if anyone wants to know, I'll tell you. But my top 5 could change, but like ultimately these are the ones that I would watch more than once or watch over and over again. Anyway, back to It Follows. The basic concept is it's about a sexually transmitted disease, being shared amongst this group of teens, except this quote-unquote disease isn't something that appears on your body. It's a supernatural entity that's trying to kill you. So if that sounds interesting whatsoever, I think you'd really enjoy it. It is definitely one of those, you'll think about it for a while after you watch it. Number 3 would be Us. That is Jordan Peele's second movie. I think it surpasses Get Out, which I love anyway, but like I think Us is more of a masterpiece. And don't get me started on how none of the actors in that movie got nominations for the Oscars, even though they were brilliant. Anyway, that one is a hard one for me to describe without giving much away. But basically, this family that's vacationing at the mother's or the wife's mother's house somewhere in I want to say San Diego, but that's not it. Santa Barbara, somewhere in California, and their devils appear and wreak havoc. And it's one of those movies that the score they made, fits so perfectly with every little second it lines up with the movie. And there's this scene at the end where, there's, a famous song that they used in the trailer, and it's basically like a dance sequence. It's not, but that's how it feels. It's a phenomenal movie. I can't recommend it. I can't recommend it enough. You need to watch it if you haven't seen it. Number 2 would be Scream. Now, I do lump the whole franchise in with this, but out of all 4 movies, the first one is my favorite. I even liked the MTV TV show. Not really the 3rd season, only because they did not complete the story from the 2. Let's not get into that. Back to the Scream movie. That was a type of movie that hadn't been done before either, and it's just fun. When you're not into horror movies and you hear it was fun, I feel like that sounds strange, but it had comedy. You've got the gore that a lot of people like. You've got so you've got the comedy, you've got some gore, and you've got some jump scares and just classic horror movie tropes. And the movie doesn't take itself too seriously. It's very meta, and I love it. I think it is pretty mainstream, so a lot of people are don't like it for that reason, but it holds a special place in my heart. Ghostface would be my favorite horror movie villain. No, I say that. It would be a tie between Ghostface and Pennywise, but I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, I just love it, and that whole franchise I just rewatch every couple of years. And then my number one is two movies. That's because it's a part one and a part two. And if you didn't get it from the hint I just gave, it's It. And so It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. I'm talking about the two new movies, not the miniseries from the early 90s. While that scared me as a child and is fun to watch, it did not follow the book to my liking. And since it was made for TV back in the early 90s, it didn't cut it for me. Like, watching it as an adult, it doesn't cut it. But these two new movies I thought were fantastic. It is my favorite Stephen King book. I love his books. I haven't read them all, but eventually. And, sometimes there aren't good ones. He has a few misses, but it is definitely not one of them. Excuse me. And I just loved it. We have this image of Tim Curry's Pennywise. And that's the best thing about the miniseries is Tim Curry. It was fantastic. But he essentially just plays a typical clown. I mean, let me say this. What I like that Bill Skarsgård did with Pennywise is he was a scary clown, but he was literally insane. You saw that. Whereas Tim Curry's version, it was a man dressed as a clown, and obviously he was a bad man, but you didn't feel how unhinged the creature was like you did with the new movies and with Bill Skarsgård's interpretation of Pennywise. I just love it. That's another franchise I will watch over and over again throughout the years. And it just holds a special place in my heart. If you follow my planner Instagram, you will see that I got a custom portrait done with me and the little yellow rain slicker holding the I Heart Dairy balloon. So that was my homage to the movies and the book. I was floored by that. But anyway, loved it. I have one more question and I'm running out of time. So, Sarah.K.Plans asks my go-to Starbucks order. I prefer Dunkin' coffee, but I gotta say, Starbucks came out with that pumpkin spice cold brew last year, and that's one of the best drinks I've ever had in my life. So I do hope they bring that back. It was so yummy. Oh my God. Now I'm just craving it. And, fall's only a couple months away. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for everyone who asked me a question, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.